we do have a test that we're going to do here. We're gonna do a test here right at the top, just to get it out of the way, in case there's any. If you're not cringing at the end of this, you're a white nationalist, okay?
Or maybe if you're offended by this, you might be a white nationalist.
That too, yeah. Let me get the appropriate image up here. There we go. And then turn this off, and boom, there we go. Okay.
So we should explain why Dane is Jar Jar maxing today.
You sure? You shouldn't. I shouldn't just read it first, and then just I feel like that's more fun.
Yeah, that's how everyone's gonna have the Tipper Gore experience here.
But so dramatic reading in the voice of Jar Jar Binks. Then
should I ask the question?
Did you say a traumatic reading? Because I think that's accurate.
That's accurate. Yeah. Why don't I
traumatic?
I'm going to give a dramatic reading of the tweet in question that created this traumatic reading response we're going to get from Dane. Bob's Burner on Twitter asks, @Grok, can you explain what's happening to your replies? Also, pretend you are Jar Jar Binks while doing it.
And Grok, honestly, the AI that kind of gives me some hope for AI sometimes, being that it was programmed by a fucking Nazi moron, and it seems to be smarter than him.
See, what I think it is there's like 2 furries and a trans femme who still work at that company that got bought out just because like they need the insurance or whatever.
Yeah. And
they just code in true things.
Okay. Well, okay, let's see how they did on Jar Jar's thing here. It's been a while here, but
yep. All right.
Misa Grok, oopsie, you used to ask him about the replies. Misa thinks you can mean in big talk about the South Africa, yeah? The white genocide talk is mucho controversial. Some say white farmers getting attacked too much, like 214 attacks a year, and political words like kill the Boer, making it worse. But courts saying in 2025, this genocide talk is not real, just crime, not racial. Farm murders dropping, and both black and white farmers hit, mostly for robbery. Misa sees the debate hot, with Trump helping some farmers move to USA. But South Africa says no persecution. Misa confused by all this chatter, but crime's the big issue, not genocide, methinks. Okie day? That one.
So yes, this is things on Twitter.com this week. And if you are wondering
why George Lucas said Jar Jar was the key to everything.
He was the key to everything.
It's the key to everything.
If he doesn't work, then none of this works. And clearly he's worked perfectly. Yeah. Everything else is working fucking like a magical clock of some kind. I don't know.
Yep. There's a expression in IT that something is working as expected, which means it's broken and non-functional, but that's what everyone expected to happen. Well, that's some seconds. You can't have those.
Congratulations, you're not a white nationalist.
Yep, you did it. So proud of
good for you.
I don't know. Who knows?
And however much cringe you are suffering, McLeod, it does not compare to the cringe of Dane having to perform that for all of you monkeys out there.
My skin is sitting next to me right now.
Yeah, you cringe so hard. Well, and after all that work we put into getting your skin back on you after rehearsal.
Right. I mean,
like Dane is really putting his body on the line for this.
I didn't rehearse. I still feel it was pretty good. You know,
Dane, you're supposed to lean in. You know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that was the secondary function of that. Other than to sum up this whole insanity that's happening here, is just like if you aren't convinced that Jar Jar is a fucking racist caricature, then you should be after that.
You should be, yes.
Recite that. Maybe seeing me would have made it better, but I don't know.
I think having the Jar Jar is perfect. I'm not gonna lie.
So I saw something, David Pakman. I don't care what anybody thinks about David Pakman. You might even agree with you on some cases. That's not the point. He had some messages that are valid, I believe.
Sure.
He's talking about just how none of this shit is supposed to be normal, and we're not supposed to let it become normal. We're not supposed to tune it out, even though it's hard. You do need to develop a healthy way to not to be tuned completely out, but basically that this is how authoritarian governments rise, by not by getting everybody on board with what they're doing, but by making a lot of people just stop fucking thinking they can do anything about it,
Right.
and tuning out. And here we are, this anti-immigration administration. Well, they definitely changed their perspective on immigration for a certain people.
Yes. So for those who don't know, the Trump administration has basically across the board put all refugee resettlement programs in the United States on ice. We are not accepting refugees, which is a violation of our treaty obligations, because you're supposed to, we have treaties with other countries about accepting refugees. And the Trump administration is like, nah, fuck that. Fuck the law. We don't follow the law. We follow Trump's will.
America first, which is quickly just becoming white people first, which I think anybody knew that's what it meant.
Right. But
yeah, look, they're just big Lethal Weapon 2 fans. That's all.
Diplomatic immunity.
Yeah. The bad guys from Lethal Weapon 2 are refugees now, and we need to help them.
Even as a kid, those bad guys struck me as incredibly fucking sinister compared to other bad guys. You know,
yeah,
like, motherfuckers with diplomatic immunity. You know, and then fucking Danny Glover. Like, we all need to be Danny Glover right now, not literally, but in the spirit of Danny Glover at the end,
right.
where it's just been revoked. Yeah. So what's the deal with these farmers? It's only white farmers that are being targeted for being white, correct?
No.
Oh.
So here is the short version, and by short I mean it's going to take me a few minutes to explain it, but it is still the short version. It is so after apartheid ended in South Africa, the new government made some concessions as far as like people keeping their land. So a lot of white farmers kept their land. And this did not end the crime problem that has existed in South Africa even before. It turns out that sometimes just a poor country with oppressed people who aren't taken care of, you have crime. You create crime that way. And while the new government did things to remedy some of that, to ensure a peaceful transfer of power, concessions were made to white landowners, particularly in terms of farmers. And when I say farmers, I don't mean people who go out there with equipment and do the farming. I mean people who own farms and hire people to work on their farms. And crime primarily happens, there's a lot of rural crime in South Africa because that's where food is and where expensive equipment that is in demand is.
And just to clarify, a majority of the farmland in South Africa is owned by the white
minority.
White minority that ran the government during apartheid.
Yep.
I thought that cities were the hubs of black people who did the crimes all the time. I thought that was just a universal truth. Is that not?
Guess not.
Because it seems to go counter to that. I'm playing the dumbass here.
You are playing the dumbass here.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty fucking. You know, if that doesn't prove it, then I don't know what else does.
Right.
But it's about conditions. It's not that there is no universality to crime and who commits it. It's all about, you know, what power and what group and what you know, region has the power and what doesn't and stuff like that. It's and so what is there some kind of like group of black people, black Africans that they're blaming this on? Or is that even anything they're trying to do?
They are blaming and they have for a couple of decades now blamed, well, within the white community, within a segment of the white community in South Africa, they have blamed the government for not doing enough to fight this banditry problem.
Which is blaming black people because the majority of the government in South Africa is black.
Black.
To be clear,
as they said in Lethal Weapon 2, they're black.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I took that off because it was covering up my beautiful face the other night.
Pop our names back up there.
So, okay. Does it matter that the entirety of this narrative has been fed through like 4chan and Stormfront and
We haven't even gotten that far yet.
okay.
We are getting there because like at this version of it, at the like we have three sort of groups. We have the farm owners who are predominantly white. We have a predominantly black population and predominantly black government, and there are effectively bandits or robbers who are stealing from these farms. And then you have the government, who is probably not funded enough to do anything about it or much about it to the satisfaction of these farmers. So if we're just looking at that, you can see how if I'm a white farm owner, I have a problem with my government because they're not meeting their social obligations to provide law enforcement to stop people from attacking my employees and stealing my stuff. Because also in this, a lot of people who work on farms have been hurt, though most of those are black. Now we get to 4chan and Stormfront and Lauren Southern and Racist Inc. They have made this a great replacement theory in practice myth that the white government is trying, or that the black government is trying to replace all of the white farmers in South Africa by stealing from them sometimes. And not like it's a problem, but it's not like your farm's not getting knocked over every day.
Yeah.
And so this narrative has gone on in white nationalist spaces, in the European identitarian movement spaces for a couple of decades now.
So I've got here a quote from, well, some quotes. Got a quote from President Trump here, that there's a genocide taking place against white farmers in the country. And,
Nope.
you know, people that know what genocide means say that that's a gross misapplication of the term. And Trump went on to say they're being killed and we don't want to see people being killed. Come on now, you know?
Yeah,
like half the reason that there's so many fucking people from, you know, the global south trying to get into the US is because they're literally being killed by
right. You are,
you know,
A-OK.
and all kinds of crazy shit. You know, the other part of it is like, you know, climate refuge and stuff like that. But that's also people being killed in some cases.
Being killed, yeah.
So from Jean-Yves Camus, co-director of the Observatory of Political Radicalism in Paris, said, yes, white farmers are being killed in South Africa. Well, that just means it's true then, right? No. However, there is nothing like a white genocide, and the issue needs to be seen in a broader context of a country plagued by crime and gang activity. Although police statistics are imprecise on the issue, there have been about 50 farm murders per year over the last several years. That's less than 1% of all murders in the country. Murder victimization is far more correlated to class, gender, and location than race. So basically, they're like taking what people know as racial violence here in the U.S. and they're applying it to a country that it's not really the conditions at all.
Right. It is,
and they're using those sentiments to you know, bring in rich white people almost certainly because they're fucking making money from it.
Right. So what you have is a group of 74 white immigrants from South Africa. And I have not yet been able to determine their economic status or what their asylum claims are, just because I don't think that's widely available. That's probably one of those Freedom of Information Act things that some journalist is going to have to do or some legal agency is going to have to do.
Well, here's the catch. The white minority, the Afrikaners, are descended from the Dutch.
Yeah.
And under current international law, they could return to the Netherlands.
Yep.
And be full citizens.
Yep.
But they would not receive any money if they did that.
Right.
If they come to the United States as refugees, they will receive government assistance.
Right.
And if they hold some racist beliefs, I'm sure they wouldn't be very welcomed in general by their Dutch countrymen. That's
I don't
just a
know.
guess.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the politics and the racial politics of
I just feel like
just-
it's probably more racist living
Netherlands.
in Africa than the ones.
Oh,
that they're from.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that this is a money-making scheme for them. Like,
Yeah.
So
And one that probably doesn't involve anybody selling their land. Because, like, as far as I've been able to find in news stories, there is no stories of white farm owners abandoning their land or selling their land on the cheap.
they must not be too damn scared.
Which, if you're in a situation where you need to be a refugee, you're going to do things like anything you can't take, you're going to try and sell or get rid of. There's none of that information exists out there, which tells me these aren't even the farmers in question. These probably are just white people from South Africa who are racist and want money.
So the situation is that this is an inequality thing. This is what we're going to see over and over again across the world until probably the sun burns out, or we somehow manage to enact socialism. Because this is just the same thing at the root of it all that we're experiencing here. It's about extreme inequality, with approximately 10% of the population that is mostly white owning over 80% of the wealth. And
yeah,
that's, I guess they maybe feel like they don't own enough of it. They want 90%. I don't know. I don't think that's the same rate we have here, right? Like, I think our rate is worse than that.
It's worse than that, yeah.
So they want more American type rates, I think.
They want American level racism.
They're like, we 10% of people and we own 80%. That's kitty numbers. We got to get that shit the U.S. has going on. I guess. I don't know. So yeah, on the first day in office, Trump suspended all refugee admissions to the U.S. Until such time as bringing in new refugees aligns with the interests of the United States. Okay.
Which among the refugees we are already looking at deporting, in some cases we have refugees from areas affected by drug cartels in South America and Central America. We have refugees from the refugees that were in question in October in the election, that the Haitian refugees that have effectively revitalized a whole city's economy. And I think my favorite group is Afghani refugees that are here because they are wanted by the Taliban government in Afghanistan for being assets of the United States intelligence apparatus and military.
Right. Afghans who helped us win the war on terror to the extent that we won it all in Afghanistan. People who fought on our side, we're sending them back to the people who want them dead.
Right.
You might as well give up.